Good morning, Canada. Welcome to Your Morning Weekend. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
I'm Lindsey Deluce.
I'm Kelsey McEwen.
So today we are bringing you some of our top stories from the week, including a new book that's about the addiction to our phones and how we might be able to break free.
We're also finding out about sleep maxing. Have you guys heard of it before we did it on the show?
No, but I'm ready to max.
Okay, me too.
Another fascinating story from this week is all about sports betting ads aimed at kids and why that can be dangerous. I know I learned a lot from this conversation. Here it is.
Doctors and addiction specialists are calling for restrictions on sports betting ads, warning they're setting youth up for future gambling problems. In an editorial published by the Canadian Medical Association Journal, experts are calling for the federal government to enact strong and effective legislation to protect children from gambling advertising. Dr. Sean Kelly is one of the editors of this article. He's our guest this morning. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Anne-Marie.
So, Doctor, we know that warnings are born out of concern. When was the moment that you realized that betting ads were so prevalent, first of all, in sports, and they could pose a potential danger to kids?
So it's been since 2002 in Ontario where single event sports betting has been legal, and the advertisement has been coming since that time. And it wasn't long after I was sitting watching sports highlights in the morning, specifically hockey, with my young blossoming hockey player. And he asked me, "Dad, what's the difference between plus minus and over under?" He was 7 years old at the time, and he was conflating those two stats.
So then what are the links that you see in your profession between the ads and youth behavior?
Well, we know that youth are particularly developmentally vulnerable to both substance use disorder, which is a bulk of my work, but also the enticement that is offered by gambling advertisement. This anticipation of large rewards causes a lot of dopamine to be secreted in adolescence, and we know that this drives risky decision making. And so what we're seeing now clinically is harms from gambling walk into the clinic door. And I'm also a general pediatrician as well as an addiction medicine specialist. And it's in both parts of my practice that I'm seeing harms related to gambling.
What kind of harms specifically are we talking about? Just so parents have an idea of what to look out for.
Well, first and foremost, it's the financial harm. The first story that I recall was a 13-year-old male who had borrowed dad's credit card and racked up $1,200 in lost wagers in a short period of time. Wow. And that was a significant financial stress for the youth, for his family, and there was a great deal of anxiety that was created for both the youth and his family in that case. And we know that it's not just anxiety that happens. We know that these financial harms are very real and can be incredibly tough in this day and age, but mental health concerns, increased criminality, and increased risk of suicidality are the huge things that we're worried about in this population. We have data to be concerned about it too.
Yeah, the dopamine chase that can come from online dating can also then, I guess, be transferred to gambling on a more extreme sense.
Absolutely. So we know that adolescence is actually pretty well described as a gap in maturity between two regions of your brain. They're all gas and no brakes at that point. Their prefrontal cortex that makes the good decisions isn't online and can't help them see the truth behind these gambling ads, and all they see is the carrot dangling in front of them.
Oh, that's a great way to say that. All gas and no brakes. Listen, all the sports betting advertisement come with very clearly stated game responsibility warnings. But obviously you don't feel that those are enough. So what else needs to be done?
Yeah, it's very interesting because the Commission for Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario made some adjustments to who was able to advertise. And then sports celebrities and youth appealing celebrities were only allowed to appear in safe gambling advertisements. But I'll tell you, when Connor McDavid gives us a safe gambling advertisement, my kid hears Connor McDavid thinks I can gamble safely. The warnings at the beginning and end of the advertisement that say about the age restrictions on these gambling are not really picked up so much as the other content and that dangling carrot again that is pretty present through the rest of the ad. And so youth form impressions, and it's not the warnings that they're taking with them to the next step in their day.
So what can parents do then to protect their kids? Because I think you would go in with the assumption that, oh, my kid's not going to gamble. They know the difference, but do they?
Well, unfortunately, no. But right now, I mean, hopefully what we end up with is a legislative framework that does protect our youth. But in the meantime, while we're facing this barrage of advertising, we can use each of these ads that are forced upon us when we're trying to enjoy sports or other broadcasts with our family. We can use these as opportunities to have a discussion. So what is being sold to us here? How realistic is this? Do you think that MGM is paying each person who bets a significant amount of money? Or do you think they're making a lot of money so that they can pay X celebrity, Y millions of dollars. And it begins as a conversation about media literacy, and it's a call for us to engage with our kids and help them navigate this pretty toxic landscape.
Really quickly, you say strong legislation. What would that include?
Well, I would hope it would include a number of things. We need to restrict the content of those ads, who can appear in them, and how they can be directed. The number of ads that are appearing for broadcast, ideally all the way down to 0. And when these ads can appear, at what time are we expecting a youth audience? Then we shouldn't be permitting gambling advertising.
Oh, it's a great conversation. Dr. Sean Kelly, adolescent addiction specialist and pediatrician. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Anne-Marie.
Okay, question for you. Did you check your phone when you woke up this morning? Are you holding it in your hand right now? Most of us are. Canadians, we know we spend almost 5 hours a day using apps on our phone. And we know too much screen time isn't a good thing, but we just keep scrolling. In her new book, Smartphone Nation, Caitlin Regehr digs deep into the science behind screen addiction, targeting algorithms and advice on how to break free from it all. And Caitlin joins me in studio this morning. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you use this term, attention economy.
That's
What
right.
is this?
Okay, so let's start with the premise that most everything we consume is regulated. The food we eat, the medication we take, the cars we drive. We have consumer protections around these things. We don't have the same consumer protections in the digital space because we're actually not the consumers here. We're the product. Or rather, our time and attention is the product which is being sold to advertisers. And what my work looks at is how through this attention economy, this attention-grabbing economy, hate, harm, and disinformation is often prioritized algorithmically because it's more attention-grabbing. Because disinformation, unfortunately, is often more interesting than the truth, and harm, or things that hook into our insecurities or elicit an emotive response, will often hold us there just a little bit longer. And it's that extra attention that advertisers are paying for. And so what I do in this book is I help develop tools and give people skills to take control over that attention economy.
One of the ways you do this is with this pyramid
That's
about how we can consume
Yeah.
content. Take me through this and explain to our viewers what this means.
So generally, we used to talk about screen time, which is a little bit of an outdated term now, because screen time only talks about the quantity of consumption, the amount of consumption, not the quality of what we are consuming. And so what the digital diet pyramid does for us is it starts to help us think more critically about what we are actually consuming by way of our screens and how to get more of the good stuff and less of the bad.
So on the bottom, this would be like the bulk of your screen time, the recommendation, education and learning, slowly working our way up to that top, the passive. This is like the doom scrolling.
That's the doom scrolling. So generally what we want to be doing is turning ourselves into active participants, active, engaged, intentional usage, and moving away from that passive product state where you just eat and consume whatever is put in front of you.
Okay, so I want to get right to it. What is your advice to how we spend less time scrolling? Give me some tips here.
Okay, so one thing we can do is we make a decision. We actively decide what we want more of and what we want less of, and then we can actually start to game our algorithms effectively. So this is how we game our algorithms. You decide what you want to be seeing, and you actively search for that. Actively search for it, and then quickly move past anything you don't. Do not linger on it, don't comment on it, don't even report it. And what will happen is you will train the machine learning. And if you have older kids who are on social media, this is an exercise you can do with them too. I do know some parents who will go into their kids' TikTok at night and just search for science videos to try and train the machine learning. I think it's better that we educate our kids, that they become empowered in these processes, they take ownership. But this works. You can actually train your algorithm.
And why is it so important to do that? For someone who doesn't understand how this is working, the algorithm, why is it important to linger on the videos that you want to see more of and swipe past the things that don't feel as good?
Because when your time is money, literally, okay? Your engagement, your attention is money. And so when you linger on something, when you give it your attention, that tells the algorithm that you should be fed more of it. And that doesn't mean, it might not even be something you want to see. Okay, it might not be something that's good for you. It's not about what's good for you. It's about what will hold your attention. So we need to push back against that if that's not what we want.
Well, it makes sense when you said right off the hop that harm can hold your attention that much longer. Even something like those reels you see or the TikTok videos you see where it's like 5 easy ways to improve your sleep. If you're insecure about your sleep, you're stopping and you're watching that.
That's right.
That instantly grabs your attention.
That's right. And that insecurity will be different for every single person. It might be that we're being fed weight loss products. It might be that you're being fed lots of kitchens you can't afford. And it's worth thinking about whether that's the best thing for you.
Caitlin, I appreciate the conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Smartphone Nation is out now in all major book retailers.
Coming up, social media hacks that promise to help you get more sleep. We find out if any of them actually work.
Okay, question for you this morning. Have you ever heard of sleep maxing?
I used to get the worst sleep ever, but for the past few years, I've been dialing in my sleep maxing routine, and I've never slept better. So we're gonna go through all the things.
Okay, so people all over social media are creating routines using everything from chin straps to magnesium mocktails to help them get the best sleep possible. But does any of this stuff actually work? We had to bring in sleep expert Amanda Jewson, who's got some answers today.
I do.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, can we jump into the first trend? Here, take a
Yes.
look at this.
So now I'm gonna be doing my chin strap. It goes over the mouth like this, and then the big strap goes on the top of the head. Oh, I'm trying to get it so it's not puffing up.
Okay, it looks ridiculous. Does it work? Can I try it while you're
Yes,
explaining?
please, go for it. So the idea behind the chin strap is that if we are able to keep our jaw in a certain position, we will breathe. Yep, that's right.
What?
Yep,
I'm like,
you
what
got
are the
it.
holes for?
The holes are the ears. Yeah, that goes on the chin. Perfect, gorgeous. So you're supposed. I'm curious how you feel. Do you feel like you could open your mouth if you wanted to? Show me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm dubious of this claim. The idea is that if we breathe through our nose, we're filtering out pollutants, allergens. It's a better way for us to sleep. We get more oxygen, higher sleep quality. Now, the reality is that if you want to sleep with your mouth open, you're probably going to be able to with this.
But I wouldn't be able to keep it open.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. But the other part is if you are breathing with your mouth open, there is a chance you have a breathing obstruction, an airway obstruction anyway. The first course of action for mouth breathing is not a chin strap, it's not mouth tape, it's seeing your doctor to rule out apnea. If you actually have a breathing obstruction and you're blocking the airway to oxygen, it's a significant risk. So it might work, but go see your doctor first.
Okay, this is surprisingly comfortable.
Okay, you're a convert. I mean,
I don't know if I'm a
convert,
but like there's something about this that just feels it's like my face is tucked in.
Okay, well, let's go to this idea about like that scrunching the pressure. There might be something
Okay,
to
there
that.
might be something there. While
Yeah.
I take this off, there's another trend that people are talking about. It's called the red light therapy. Check it out.
I'm going to show you what has changed my life. At night, switch out fluorescent light bulbs for red light bulbs. Light candles, set the vibe, turn off the fluorescent light and blue light.
It really does just create such a vibe. I try to do this about 30 minutes before I go to bed.
I've heard a lot about this. I
Yeah.
think we all have. I even have one at home. I don't know if it actually works. Let's dim the lights in here if we could. I'm going to ask the control room to do that because you brought one in. Does this work?
do. So look, there's limited and new evidence. The claims online are that this is melatonin boosting. You're gonna pop on this red light, all of a sudden your sleepy hormone melatonin just floods your body. I think that's probably overstated. At best, what the research is showing us is that it isn't bad. So if you needed a light before bed, red light is probably the preferred option. It's not going to create cortisol or adrenaline, so give it a shot. It's worth a shot to try.
It's worth the shot. Okay,
Yeah.
Speaking of shots, maybe you want to do a shot of this. This next trend is called, this is weird, Sleepy Girl Mocktail?
And I have the hardest time falling asleep, so I'm hoping this is gonna help. You only need 3 ingredients: pure tart cherry juice, bubble water, magnesium. I got this Calm Magnesium.
Okay, so this is the combo.
Yep.
How do we make it? What is this?
Okay, you're gonna use a little bit of cherry juice, just like so.
Cherry juice. I've never had cherry juice.
It has to be tart and pure, not a combo or a blend. You're gonna pop in some magnesium. I'm just gonna stir this a little bit, and then we're gonna add
It's like a potion.
some bubble. Well, yeah,
It
there
is a
you go.
potion.
It's a sleepy potion. Okay, and there you go. I would add ice to this personally.
yeah.
So look, tart cherry juice and other foods have naturally occurring, go for it, get in there, have naturally occurring melatonin in them. So you could be supplementing with melatonin. Magnesium has been shown to have and you're done.
I'm done.
It has that overall calming effect on our entire body. So the hypothesis is if we combo them, it'll be a great solution.
It actually tastes good.
It tastes good.
I want to fit one more in if we
Please,
could.
yes.
Here's another trend that people are using.
Why didn't anybody tell me that they make weighted eye masks? This is literally like a weighted blanket on your eyes to help you fall asleep faster.
Okay.
And the best part
So
is that it's
at
double-sided.
most, it's going to remove light exposure, which is what we want. There is some research to show that weighted products, and you know that feeling of compression that you liked from the chin strap, might be adding in some relaxation and a quicker time for you to fall asleep. But again, the research on weighted products is generally new. We have small sample sizes. It's hard to say, but if you like it and you sleep well, go for it.
I do. Well, because sometimes we fall asleep when it's like real daylight outside. You know what I mean?
Truly.
So if I wore the
Yes.
chin strap, the weighted thing, drank that, and hit the light,
You're out.
That's
it. Report back.
Guess what?
What?
We're out. Amanda Juicin, we gotta go. Thanks for stopping by. This is great. Up next, why young Canadians are replacing cooking with smartphones.
The use of food delivery services like Uber Eats and DoorDash have been rising in popularity in the last 5 years. A recent survey found that 1 in 4 Canadians used food apps on a regular basis, marking a 20% increase from just 5 years ago. So despite the high costs for delivery fees, younger Canadians are turning away from traditional kitchen methods and embracing food apps and delivery instead. So for a closer look at this trend, I'm joined this morning by Sylvain Charlebois. He is visiting scholar at McGill University. This is very interesting. The cost of living is very high. The cost of food is very high. Why are younger people going to the more expensive option?
Well, you tell me, actually. That's the paradox. So food prices have gone up 27% since 2020, yet people are willing to pay service charges, more fees to get their food delivered either to their homes or to their office. So for a lot of younger consumers, this is their new kitchen, basically. And so right now, 1 Canadian in 4 is using a food delivery app on a regular basis. We expect by 2030 to see that ratio go down to 1 in 3.
Wow.
So there is momentum there. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Sylvain, when we're talking about food delivery apps, these aren't just like sort of the Uber Eats and the DoorDash. This is also the food making apps, if I understand that correctly.
Actually, we're just talking about Uber Eats and DoorDash. Those are the platforms. Meal kits are another issue.
Yeah.
Meal kits, demand for meal kits is stagnating, really. The market is anywhere between 1 to 1.2 billion. It hasn't grown all that much. But for food delivery apps, that market is absolutely growing, for sure.
And, you know, the numbers support what I'm seeing anecdotally. I know, like, my kids and their friends, they will order things to school now. They're not going to the cafeteria or walking up to, you know, the White Store. They're ordering them right to class. Food apps seem to be more popular on the West Coast when we compare these numbers to the East Coast. We're going to show everybody what's happening in Canada. In Alberta, nearly 35% of residents use these apps regularly. That's compared to just 9% in Prince Edward Island. Why are we seeing such a disparity?
Well, the Atlantic region where I live, it's pretty easy to explain. So the consumers are older, generally speaking, so demographics are against the use of these delivery apps. And food affordability is also an issue as well in the East. Food inflation has always been a much more significant issue in the east. Out west, incomes are higher. Alberta's number 1 for that reason. BC's number 2. Ontario's is number 3 there because there's just more money. And of course, consumers are much younger. Keep in mind, Anne-Marie, right now, Gen Z's, 38% of Gen Z's are using these apps on a regular basis versus 12% for boomers. So a big difference there.
Well, and it's really important when we look at the time, right? This is over the last 5 years. 5 years ago, we had the pandemic. A lot of these kids were either living at home or had just moved away from home. Is that what fueled this trend?
Actually, we looked at the numbers, and frankly, there is a natural progression for the usage of these delivery apps. The pandemic was probably a blip, but really, even without the pandemic, I suspect that a lot of people would be using these delivery apps. So the concern that we have, of course, well, there are 2: nutrition. Are people getting the proper nutrition? And 2, the service fees. I mean, you are paying a premium to get your food delivered, and it can actually impact food affordability across the board.
The cost of convenience just doesn't seem to be a factor for this demographic. How much are the apps profiting from this usage?
Well, they're profiting quite a bit. In fact, actually, this summer we were learning that the competition was actually suing DoorDash because it is being accused of not being clear enough with service fees and extra charges. And I don't think this issue is going to go away anytime soon, to be honest, because I think a lot of people are ordering using these apps without knowing for sure how much more they're paying for their food.
Sylvain Charlebois, visiting scholar at McGill University. It's a very interesting topic and one I'm glad we took a closer look at. Thank you.
Take care.
Time is one of our most valuable resources, and yet we waste a lot of it. Constant notifications, doom scrolling, and other distractions, they can all add up, making us feel like you don't have enough time in the day, enough hours to get stuff done. So how do we get our time back? Hina Khan is a peak performance mindset coach and is joining me now with more answers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, so all these little bits of wasted time, you call this time confetti.
I
What's
know.
that?
And it sounds like it's really fun. Sounds like something we can get our energy behind. Time confetti. But what it really speaks to are those little interruptions, those micro distractions during the day. So you can think of it like this beautiful long ribbon. And every time you're gonna, I'm just gonna check that notification quickly. I'm just gonna pop on social media. You're cutting the ribbon and you're left with scraps. And it can really rob you of your best thinking time. So that's what it is.
I saw something the other day that said, like, if you took 2 hours of that doom scrolling every day, which I think, like, through the day, 2 hours is reasonable to say we all do, and then add that up through the year.
Yes.
Like 365 times 2. So now we're into like 700 some hours that you could have spent perfecting something else.
Exactly.
And I thought, well, like mic drop, throw the cards up in the air. So what are some examples of these distractions that steal our time?
Well, you mentioned it, doom scrolling. That is absolutely one. Distracting long phone conversations, responding to every notification, that puts you in a reactive mode. You hear a ping, you drop everything, you're looking at it, and then switching tasks frequently.
Okay, so why are these ruining our overall focus?
Well, it takes time for the brain to recalibrate when you're going from task to task. It's not as simple as just opening up a new tab and you're fully present there. Psychologists call this attention residue. So an example would be you're sitting down to write a proposal. 10 minutes in, you get a notification. So you go to check the notification. Oh, and then you notice that there are some messages on your social media. So then you go to check that. And then, like you said, it's 30 minutes. And that's probably being generous. It's probably more than that you have now distracted onto something else, and now you're going to come back to your task, but it's still going to take time to get back into the flow again. So that's why it's problematic.
Yeah, so how do we figure out how to get beyond this?
Yes.
I get it. I'm like sitting here just being like, yes, I do all of this. How do we move to the next step?
So there's a couple of things that you can do. One is think about when you want to even communicate and send your email. So like batch communication. And what that is, you can even put it on your email. I respond during these times. And that way you're setting expectations and you don't feel you have to respond as soon as things come in.
I love that.
Right? And another thing is to set focus zones. So this is your best time, like when you're in a peak state, when you're in flow, when is your best thinking time, and protect it. You've got to protect it. And then you can also stay on task. know what your priorities are and set a timer for 20 minutes and only work on that. We live in a world of almost. Oh, I've almost got it done. 70% there, 80% there. When you start finishing things, it makes a difference. And then my favorite, I do this with my clients, and that is setting your day with intention, a morning routine. Honestly, control your mornings, control your days. You start with your agenda, your priorities, not looking at your phone and going into reaction mode.
Anna, you work with people all the
Yes.
time on improving their performance
Yes.
throughout the day. So realistically, if I was to start this today, at what point is this going to feel much more natural and not like an arduous task that I have to be like, oh, right, I'm not checking social media. Like when I get into my routine and rhythm, how long should I expect this to take before it feels natural?
Well, many people say it can be 21 days or so, but I actually think it can be sooner than that. Because I think when you start to see the results, that's what you're going to connect to. And you're going to start to go to bed at night and not feel drained and unfocused, not feel like you were really, really busy, but didn't accomplish much. Have you ever felt that? It's like I feel like I was so busy, but I didn't really move the needle much. So when you start to see your productiveness and effectiveness increase, you're going to see that actually pretty quickly.
I feel like that's going to be the better dopamine hit than the next funny video on the internet.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it. I say this every time you come on the show, but I feel like you changed my life. Thank you so much.
You.
Next week on Your Morning, Lily James on her buzzworthy new role in Swiped.
The formula is clearly working. Why do we want to mess with it?
It is a problem if it starts driving women away. I mean, no, it's kind of hard to run a dating app without them.
Yeah, I mean, we need to be practical, not emotional.
Good morning, Canada. Welcome to Your Morning, the weekend edition. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
I'm Lindsey Deluce.
I'm Kelsey McEwen.
So this morning, we have some of our top stories and interviews from the week. This half hour, we are going to tackle the sometimes uncomfortable conversation around estate planning.
And you know who is coming up also? Chef Ricardo. His cookbook is all about recipes for those of us who may be newer to the kitchen. And you had a really interesting little tidbit.
So he did a lot of research for this cookbook, and he asked kids, what do you like to eat when he was making the cookbook? And he said the number one answer they got from kids was they like breakfast for supper.
Oh, that's so easy.
Well, it's easy, but it's also comfort. And when I think food, I think comfort food. What goes better with comfort food than comfort viewing? Anne-Marie sat down with two of the stars from the brand new Degrassi doc. Here's that conversation.
A new Degrassi documentary is making its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival on Saturday, and this morning, we've got a preview for you.
Wardrobe was a lot of our own clothes that were brought in. We also had lunch duty where we helped with preparing lunch and doing dishes. It was the 80s.
Hi.
Truly Whatever It Takes, and it's called Degrassi Whatever It Takes, is exploring the iconic Canadian series from its humble, non-unionized beginnings right through to the next generation with cast interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and tidbits that will make even the most seasoned Degrassi devotee reconsider what they thought they knew. So this morning, we are joined by two cast members, Stacey Mistyshin, who you might remember best as Caitlin Ryan, and Melinda Shankar, a.k.a. Ali Bandari. Welcome to you both for being here. Does it ever get old how much people love this show?
No, it doesn't. Like, I'm a fan of the show.
This is so much fun. What I loved about this documentary was how honest it was. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. They lay it all bare. And kudos to the filmmakers for that, and to you both for being so honest about it. What the show got right, what was successful, what people loved, and where they fell short. You were honest about all of it. What did you guys think of the finished product?
I loved it. I thought they did a really good job of keeping a very balanced, nuanced conversation. And it was refreshing for us to be able to, everyone had so many different experiences, right? And our truths are different than maybe somebody else's, but I love that they allowed us to share that.
You feel the same way?
Yeah, I learned a lot, especially from the era that I used to watch before I got on it. And I just feel very grateful that I didn't have to do dishes or make lunches.
And that's part of it, is the evolution of it. I mean, I watched it from the kids of Degrassi Street. So like for the whole series, I've watched it. Stacey, you've been with the show since that time. You were part of the kids of Degrassi Street. You were just 10 years old, which is how old, close to how old I was. I think I started watching. All the way through to Degrassi Junior High, Degrassi High, and Degrassi The Next Generation. I was shocked to learn that you and the other actors, as we saw in that clip, you cleaned up, you helped with craft services, you moved equipment around, and you grabbed clothes from your own wardrobe.
Oh yeah. It was It was a different time.
And why did you like doing all of that as a kid?
Well, we didn't know any differently.
I
mean, we didn't have agents. We didn't have, that was just our reality. And we were happy, you know, to be involved in such a great production. But yeah, that was what we were told to do, and we did it.
And this is what's so neat about this show is, you know, this is before there were kids channels, before Nickelodeon and before Disney. And, you know, and now when I look at some of those teen and youth shows, they feel impossible to achieve. They all have stylists and veneers, and some of them have even had work done. But this was raw, unedited. This was kids being kids on TV. And I loved seeing it that way. Melinda, fans know you as Ali Bandari from The Next Generation. And you say in the doc that you weren't allowed to watch the original Degrassi series. Why not?
No, I absolutely was allowed to watch it.
Oh, you were?
Yes. Probably before I should have been watching it. I have older sisters, and my mom and them, they would watch it. And I didn't really know what was happening, but I was watching the fashion. I was checking out the hair, and I was just like, one day I want to be on that. And I really wanted that specific show.
And you got it.
Very happy that worked out.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
Stacey,
cool.
The writers, we understand, were pulling what was happening in your own lives and then writing it into the material. Your parents were going through a divorce in real life. It became a plot for your character in the show. They asked if you were okay with doing that, but looking back, how do you feel now about that choice?
I think it was good for me to have an outlet at that time because, that was just one episode. But divorce, as most people know, is not like covered in one episode. That's a long-standing thing. So it was good for me to have something because I didn't really have anything else or anyone to talk to at that time. So I think it was good, retrospectively looking back.
And when you were talking to somebody about it in the show, it was often the writers and producers. They were sort of your, not only employers, but counselors at the same time.
Sort of. It was we had to remember though, and this was, I think, what we learned was that they are our bosses, first and foremost.
Yeah.
We're doing a job. And I think, it was hard for us sometimes to separate the two when we're young and we're impressionable, but that's something that we had to learn. And
Abortion is wrong.
yeah, they wanted to bring out the best of us, and we wanted those storylines because we wanted, to be able to tell these stories. So at the end, it was just really great to be a part of something that has had such an impact.
From Kids at Degrassi Street to a doc at TIFF, it has been quite a journey. You guys have been along for different chapters. Stacey and Melinda, thanks guys so much for being here. Have a great TIFF. Enjoy Saturday. Enjoy all the love coming your way from people who know and love. Remember and hang on to the memories of this show. The new documentary is called Degrassi, Whatever It Takes. Coming up, breakfast sandwiches, bowls, and smoothies. We've got recipes for aspiring chefs. Oh, we have the perfect cookbook for new chefs looking for easy recipes. Chef and best-selling cookbook author Ricardo's newest release, My First Recipe Book, has the best recipes for the young foodie in your house, whether they're just starting out or they're more experienced and in need of new recipe ideas or some tips. Chef Ricardo is with us in studio this morning, giving us a taste of some of the recipes. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Just before we get started, I want to remind everybody that all of today's recipes can be found on the QR code that is on our screen, so make sure you scan that. Listen, you're a dad, you've got 3 kids.
Yep.
Why do you think it's a good idea for kids to get involved in their own cooking?
Because I think just for the self-esteem, just for that, already it makes a huge change. They need quick win. It's like sports. When you actually cook your own breakfast and your mom or your dad or your siblings are looking at you and saying, you made that? Yeah, I made that. In the eyes, it tells them, you are fantastic.
I love
and it gives a boost. And you will cook and eat all your life. It's gonna be a great thing. And I was so happy to see, we did a lot of surveys.
Yeah.
Favorite meals for kids in Canada and teenagers, breakfast.
Breakfast is the #1.
Breakfast #1 because they are with their family and friends. And that is very positive. Then I said, what would you like to have? He says, desserts.
Yeah.
I can't put only desserts in a book. Your parents will kill me.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, I'll look on social media also. What are the things you like? So I went from, snackings to breakfast to desserts to all sorts of treats.
Can I show, like, first of all, it's so much fun to look at, the front of this cookbook, right? I mean, you've made it so appealing for kids. You've made everything very easy to follow, but I'm gonna open it up and show everybody because what else you have done are really great things like this. For example, the foolproof way to fold a wrap. Everybody needs to know this. A lot of people guess on their own.
Yeah.
You've included all of these kinds of elements.
Techniques, basic things, things about organic food, buy local, to send messages. You know, every page has little bubbles of information. Either you transfer it to your kids, or if you're a teenager, young adults, you can do it yourself.
Well, yeah, and you know what, I mean, ultimately as a parent, you're raising your kids to leave the nest, so this is a really great foundational knowledge. You said breakfast was the feedback you got as the #1 favorite meal. Walk me through this breakfast
They love to be
hot
secure.
dog.
They don't want you to reinvent the world. So this is just bacon, egg, sausage with a bit of cheese, but we've placed it into a bun that we've just roasted in a pan with a bit of butter. And looks good. It feels secure, but at the same time, it's different. Same thing with Bordeaux bowls or bowls in general. If you try to make something nice, sometimes it's complicated. Just separate everything. Proteins, the rice, a little salad, and then you can top it what you want. The protein can be from vegetarian to fish to all sorts of ground beef or meat or chicken. And right now, people looking for economical solutions. Bowls are perfect for that.
Yeah, they portion everything out.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got breakfast here, you've got the burrito bowls. Walk me through this.
Every drinks, they love drinks from bubble tea to slush to shakes like this, pineapple, coconut. And I tried to go with the kids, what they were looking on social media and these. The snacking, so important. You should have a sip of that. It's so
I was
good.
hoping you would ask.
Fresh, still summery. We have to enjoy it, even this winter.
Oh, that is really good.
Simple.
This fits in breakfast and dessert.
Simple.
That's really good.
And this is why, like, I think kids are so, I'd say, attracted by cooking, because quick win, especially boys in Canada. They love to cook.
You know, this is true. So I have 2 girls and a boy, and one daughter likes to prepare food as well, but my son loves to cook. And so we started having him make his own. He almost basically eats a meal after school now. So we had him cooking his own.
It's nice.
Yeah, and they'll find stuff on social media, but what I like about this is that it's also the extra skill of putting down your phone and looking through a book.
Putting down your phone, this is so important. And I wrote it in the book. It's a moment to be together. It's preferable to have just a mac and cheese with your family than having filet mignon on your own. It's about gathering, and this is another thing they love. We have to teach by example.
Can you tell me about that piece of your survey that showed that part of what they like about mealtime is eating together?
Eating together, exactly, because it's when you are at the table that you get to learn who is your family, what are your roots, and you can learn how to talk, express yourself. You have 3 kids. If everyone talks together, you're gonna say, hey, listen to your daughter, to your sister, your brother. You learn democracy. You learn so many things around the table. Take your place, have faith in yourself, and then it's going to reflect on the rest of your life. It starts around a simple meal as a breakfast.
Put down your phone, pick up Chef Ricardo's new cookbook. Oh, I dropped this fork, but I'm gonna use it now to try a little bit of your bowl. If you wanna get your hands on my first recipe book, it is available right now, and of course, the recipes are available in the QR code. Get the smoothie, it's really good.
Coming up Monday on Your Morning, the do's and don'ts of using AI chatbots for your health questions. You know that big task you keep avoiding, but you know it has to get done? Let's talk about estate planning, right? It's something many people put off for a number of reasons. I mean, it could be uncomfortable. You don't want to have those conversations. You don't want to have conflict with family. Or maybe you just haven't done it yet because you don't even know where to start. Well, guess what? Money expert Robin Thompson is here to walk us through how to begin. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
This is a good time of year to do that. I've been telling people January 1st is not the start of my new year. It is September 1st. So it's good to revisit this type of thing. Why do so many people push this off?
Well, it actually makes people confront 2 of the things in life that they generally don't like to confront. So mortality and money are 2 of those things where people are like, you know, how do I look at that and how do I make sure that I'm doing the right things? And we tend to have a bit of an optimism bias, so we tend to think of, oh, I've got lots of time. I could do it tomorrow or the next week, and you kind of kick that can down the road. But what happens when you put yourself in a position like that is that you are now not actually making the decisions that you want to make for your family, because if you don't make these decisions, the government's going to make those decisions for you, or it's going to end up in some sort of family argument. So it's about making sure that we make the right decisions while we can make those decisions.
So where do we start?
So we start with a few places. The first place we start is we're just going to keep it really small. So I think that when we think about estate planning, we think about this big, huge project we have to do, and it actually creates this place of avoidance. So if we can start small, we can gain momentum and traction. So just start with your beneficiary designations on your insurance policies, your RSPs, start taking a look at updating your will. Sit down and speak to somebody that you trust around your will. Start to put some things together around what it is that you're looking to do. And the interesting thing that happens here is that when you actually write down your intentions, you have about a 40% more retention rate. And it now takes it from in my brain somewhere over here into something that's tangible in your hands. So you can now take this and actually bring it to someone who can help you formulate a plan and start putting it together.
Are you doing this by yourself, or are you doing this with a partner?
Yeah, so I think that you have a choice. I mean, if you were single, then obviously you're doing it on your own. If you have a partner, then you can do it together. You generally want to have your wills reflective of both of the wishes that you have. I think it's about understanding what it is that you would like, what it is that your partner would like, if the family's involved, what that looks like. When it comes to who helps you put this together, you could sit down with your financial planner or financial advisor to be able to help you with the questions that you want to ask. If it's a bit more complicated, you'll want to sit down with a lawyer, especially if it involves multiple real estate properties or if there's multiple layers of families. So it's just about understanding what do you need, how much help do you need, and who do you speak to?
Some people just hate talking about money. They hate talking about planning. If you're worried about having those conversations with family members, what would you suggest?
I mean, I laugh when I hear that because I do feel that it is something that people don't like to talk about, and it's a difficult conversation. And sometimes just calling out the conversation is the way to start. Be like, you know what? This is a hard conversation to have. I don't know where to begin. I know this is emotional for both of us. So by actually calling it out, you give it room to breathe. So first I would have that conversation, and then I would bring it into a place of, you know, maybe it's a fall dinner, maybe it's a fall sit down, maybe something that's changed in your life that's going to trigger a review of your estate planning. And this could be anything from the birth of a child, it could be a divorce, a death in the family. If you've noticed a cognitive something starting to change in maybe one of your family members or someone in your life. So any major change is going to trigger that conversation. And in the fall, it's a really great time to do it. It's like preparing your life for the next season of your life. You prepare your house for winter,
nice.
Prepare your life for the next season.
It's a great way to look at it. Okay, when we're talking about estate planning,
yes,
what elements are we talking about?
So the first thing is a will. So you want to make sure you have a valid will. And the will essentially just identifies what it is that you would like your legacy to be. And here's the thing is that, you know, the legacy that you leave, you will never see. But the people that you leave it to will never forget. So it's about making sure that your wishes are granted. And then it's about powers of attorney. So powers of attorney for health and powers of attorney for finance. So who has the say when you can't speak for yourself? If you are ill and you can't speak, your bills still have to get paid. And if you're unwell, who gets to say what happens to you from a physical perspective? So it's really important. And then you want to make sure you do some basic tax planning. One of the things that people don't realize is that, you know, if you are married and your spouse has passed away or you are on your own, your entire estate becomes taxable the moment before you die. So if you're holding a significant amount in RSPs, that's going to trigger a high tax bracket and you could lose half of it to the government. So you want to make sure you're doing some tax planning to make sure that your estate is in order to pass to the next generation with the least amount of tax impact on it. And that you're doing some basic planning to make sure that, oh, my ex-husband is not still the beneficiary on one of my policies.
Right.
So that you are actually creating an estate plan that involves your entire family that goes towards your wishes.
Such a great reminder. And thanks for the tips this morning, Robin Thompson. Always good to see you.
Great to see you.
That's all for us today on Your Morning. Don't forget, you can scan these QR codes for Your Morning, the newsletter, and listen to more great conversations on Your Morning, the podcast.
Yeah, we have another awesome week coming up on Monday. We've got the do's and don'ts of using AI chatbots for your health questions.
And you don't want to miss my conversation with Lily James on Tuesday. We talked about her brand new movie. It's called Swiped. And we also talked about our shared love of singing.
Oh, can't wait for that. We also have our favorite Jason Scrobar on Wednesday. He is in the kitchen making fall desserts. I cannot wait.
Our favorite Jason Scrobar.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. And on Thursday, I'm looking forward to this one because I honestly don't know the answer to this. How to properly wash your jeans and how often you should be washing your jeans. How often do you wash your jeans?
I'm not sharing that on TV.
Okay, aside from that, Jen Reynolds is also going to be here Friday. She's going to teach us what we have to use to grow more plants. I always love gardening segments because I learn so much from them. I don't do it very often. Thanks for joining us, Canada. We're going to see you on Monday.